Hello, welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we are going to be working with files in Python. We'll read files, write to files, process log files for security analysis, and handle errors we try and accept. File operations are essential for security work. Operations such as reading scan results, writing reports, and analyzing logs. So let's dive in. But before we start, ensure that your VS Code is open with your Python scripts folder. I already have that open here. In case you don't know how we got here, you can check the previous videos and it's going to explain how we created the folders and how we've gotten all the files that we have here. Now let's proceed to create a new file, and we are going to be naming the file fileoperations.py. So to do that, we're going to write touch, then we write file underscore operations.py. We hit enter, and now you can see the file here. So the next thing we want to do is to add our shebang, and after adding that, we are ready to learn file operations. The first thing we are going to do is to read files, and here we are going to be considering the basic methods. Reading files is fundamental for processing scan results and configuration files. First, we are going to create a sample file to read. So in our folder here, we can create a file named target.txt. So after creating that, we are going to put these IP addresses inside. So click on the file, then put these IP addresses. You can save it. And in our file operations.py, here we want to read the file. So I can add a comment here, say reading files, basic methods. And after that, we can first open the file. Let's say file equals to open, then the name of the file, which is target.txt, then comma, after that, then we put R, which means that we want to read. Then we say content is equals to file.read. And after that, we add print, then the contents, then we can close the file. So after we've done that, we can come here and type Python, then file underscore operations.py. Now you are seeing the output here, which is what we are doing here. We are opening the file here, reading the content of the file, printing the content of the file, then closing the file. It's just the way human beings would do something. So if you want to read a book, you get the book, you open the book, you read the book, and once you're done, you close the book. Next thing we want to do is to comment this, then come down. Here you are reading files, but you are using the with statement. And here you are using with open, then the name of the file, and then the read mode, then as file. Here you are getting the content, and here you are printing the content, and the file automatically closes itself. So we can save this and then run our code again. You can see that we are still getting the same results. So the with statement handles opening and closing automatically. And when the indented block ends, the Python closes the file. This prevents file handle leaks and is considered the best practice. Also, you can read files line by line. And how can you do that? You can come here, comment this out, save it, then come down here, and here is the code for that. Here we are displaying reading line by line on the screen, and we are displaying that on a new line. Here we are using the with statement. We are getting the target file, and we are using the read mode. Also for line inside file, that is for each of the lines, we are saying IP is equals to line.strip. And here we are printing targets and we are adding the IP to it. We can save this, then come here and rerun it. Now you can see reading line by line. So we are picking each of the line inside the file and we are adding target and colon at the front. So it's more like we are iterating over the file object to give us one line at a time. The strip methods here removes white space, including new line characters from the beginning and the end. That is what it does. And this kind of method is perfect for processing target lists, word lists, or any line-based files. Now, what if we want to read all lines into a list at once? How do we do that? To do that, we can first come here, comment this, then come here, and here is the code for that. Here, the readLine method will return a list where each line is an element. And this kind of method is useful when you need to know the total count or access lines by index. So after this, here we are printing the total number of targets and then we are getting the length of the lines. Here we are now iterating, we are saying for IP in lines, then we are printing IP. Also, we are stripping that. So if you save this and you run this, you can see the results here. So it's counting the total number of targets, which is 4. We are doing that here by counting the total number of lines. And after that, we are printing all the IP addresses that we have. And this is the loop that handles that. Another thing we can do is writing file. And writing files creates reports, saves scan results, and logs findings. Those are areas where we can use it in cybersecurity. And to do that, we can come here, comment this. We are commenting because we don't want that code to run again when we are running the new one. So for the writing file code, we can come here and paste this, then save it. Now here you are seeing writing to files, then we are creating a new file. So the first thing we did was that we created a list here, and then for each of the lists, we are having the IP address, and we are adding a dash here, and we are saying ports 80 is open, so an IP address to this as well, and we are adding a respective port that is open, and we are doing that for all the items in the list. Here we are using the with statement. This is the file we want to create, which is the scans.result.txt. And you can see that our mode here has changed from R to W, which is, this means write. Here we are looping through the results, and we are saying for each result inside the results list, then write result plus new line. That is going to be writing the results, and is going to be writing each new one in a new line. Here we are printing the result. So we can save this and we can run the code here. You can see the output here. You can see scan results written to scan results underscore txt. So we can look for the scan results.txt here, and you can see everything that we passed inside the list the other time. You can see everything here. So it's writing each item inside the list on a new line. Do not forget, the W mode means that you are writing to a file. So if the file already exists, it will overwrite it. And if it doesn't, it will create a new one. Now, what if we want to append to a file? That is, if you already have a content inside a file and we want to add more content to that file, how are we going to do that? Let's come back to our file operations.py, then comment this out, come to a new line. For all the codes that I'm writing or have used inside this video, they are already in the description. If you check the description, you are going to see a link, and if you click on the link, you will see a file that contains all the codes that I use in this lesson. So now let's add the code for this. Here we are appending to files, and you are using our with statement again with the open method. Here we are still using the scans underscore results.txt. So what we want to do is that we want to add to the file that already existed, because we had already created the scans underscore results.txt earlier. Here we are writing to the file, and after all of this is done, we are going to print this on the screen. So when we run the code now, we are going to see this in our terminal. So let's save this and let's come here and run this, and now you can see additional results appended. So if we check our scans underscore results.txt now, we should be seeing these two things that we added. Now let's go back to that and open this. Now you can see the first one, and this is the second one. So this is how to add to a file. And if you come back to files underscore operations.py, an interesting thing that is here is that if you check the mode here, you can see that it is A mode. It is not R, it is not W, it is A, and A means append. That means that you are adding to what is already inside the file. Now let's do something that looks as though we are processing log files. We can create a realistic security log and then process it. And how do we do that? We can type touch security.log. Inside security.log here, we can add some content that looks like a log. We can add this. So it looks like a log from a brute force attack. So we can save this. And let's try to process the log. Come back to our file underscore operations.txt. We can comment this out. Then step down, and we want to add the code here. Here you can see the comment processing log files, and at the beginning here we are printing a banner which is security log analysis. Here we are creating an empty list which is failed attempts. We are going to fill up this list later. Here we are using the with open statement, and we are using the read mode here. We are getting the security log, so we are reading from the security log, and for each line inside the log file, so if we are seeing failed login in a particular line, we are going to be appending this, and after that we are going to print total failed login attempts. Then we are going to get the length of the failed attempts. After that we are going to print this on a new line which is failed login details, and here is another loop that is for each attempt in the failed attempts. Then we are printing the attempt. We can save this. Let's clear the terminal, then run this again. And here is the banner that we added in the first line. This is the total number of failed login attempts because we are getting the length. After that, we are printing the ones that are having failed login attempts. And if you come back to our file here, where we created the security log, so this is where we are fetching the information from. Now let's consider we can extract data from logs. So in this section, we are going to be extracting specific information like IP addresses from failed login attempts. And how can we do that? We can comment this, save, then step down, and we can add this code. So this is the code. Here we are printing a banner. It's just like we are printing a header so that our output looks clean. After that, we initialize an empty dictionary here, which is suspicious IPs. And this is going to be our scoreboard to track every IP and how many times it's messed up. Next thing we did was that we opened our data source, which is security.log, and we are using the with statements. After that, we are now looping through the file and we are checking it line by line. So for this section, what we are doing is that we are filtering, because here we only care about the lines containing the failed login. And when we find one here, so that's why we are using if failed login in any of the lines. After that, we are going to split. That is to break the line into list of words. And since IP address is the last thing there, so we are indexing the last one. We are getting the last elements, which is why we are using -1, because -1 will pick from the back. Then coming to the next if statement block. This is just like the brain of our script. And what we are trying to do here is that if we have seen this IP before, then we are incrementing the count by 1. And that is what we are doing here. So that means that if it is a new offender, we are going to add it to our dictionary with a starting value of 1. That means if the IP has done something bad before, we'll be able to recognize the number of times that particular IP address has done something bad. But if it is the first time we are seeing it, we are just going to impute it as 1. It is very simple but effective. And this is where we are revealing everything. So we are looping through the dictionary and printing every IP and its total fails. But we took it a step further. That is, if an IP has 3 or more failed attempts, then we flag it as a potential brute force attack. And that is what we are doing here. So we can save the code, then run it again from here. Now you can see the results here. You can see this IP address. This has 3 failed attempts, and we are displaying a 1 in here, which is possible brute force attacks, and other IPs are just having 1 failed attempt. So that is how you can extract data from logs. Another thing we can do is to handle error, because there's a need for us to handle error in Python, most especially when we are writing security scripts. To do that, let's comment this, then let's step down a bit and let's add the code. This is the code for that. And here we are printing a banner, and for try here we are opening a non-existent.txt using the R mode. So after that, we want to get the content of the file. So if this works, then this would not run. But if this does not work, this will run. That is the essence of try except. So if we are trying this and this is returning an error, then this is the block or the part that will handle the error. Now we want to read from a file that doesn't exist, which means that we should be expecting an error. Save this and come here and run this. Now you can see we are getting file not found. Please check the name of the file and try again. But if we should create the file here, search non-existent.txt. Let me now rerun the code and see if I would get the same error. Now you can see that we are not getting that error, which means that I was able to read the file contents. And if you look here, you can see that we are just reading the content of the file, not that we are outputting or displaying anything from there. So you can clear your terminal and we move to the next one. What if we want to handle multiple exception types? That means if we have different errors that are being displayed differently, how do we handle that? To do that, let's first comment out this, then come here, paste the code for that. And here you can see that we are creating a function, and inside the function we are having try except. So we are trying this, and if this fails, and this particular condition is met, then we use this. If that fails and this is met, we'll use this. If that fails and this is met, then we use this. At this point, we are testing the function. That is, we are creating a variable here, and we are saying read target, which is we want to read the target.txt. Also, we are printing loaded, then the length that we are getting from here, and we are going to add targets at the front, which is a string. So if we are having length of 20, here we are going to have loaded 20 targets basically. Here again, we are saying target, read target, then forbidden.txt. We are going to print out loaded, the number of targets, and the targets at the front. Now let's save this and run this. You can see first we are saying loaded 4 targets, and the next line is forbidden txt not found, which means that the first one is using as try section and everything works fine. Then for the second one, we are seeing forbidden.txt not found. That is, the file name is not found. And if you look at that, the second block here got triggered. because that is the one that is handling the file name not found. This one is if there is no permission to read the file, and this is for any error that came up that is different from all of this. So that is what this will handle here, and you can see our results here. Now let's put everything we've learned together and create a log monitoring script. To do that, we can create a new file. We can call that log monitoring touch log monitoring.py. Then we have the file here. So inside the file, we are going to add our code. So here is the code. And with this code, we have built a tool that reads security logs, identifies suspicious activity, also generates an alert report. Here we are creating a function, and the function name is monitor security underscore log, and we are passing two different arguments inside. Here we are displaying a banner, and for our first try, this is where we are reading and analyzing the log. Here we open an empty dictionary, and we set our successful logins to be 0 as of here because we've not read anything yet. So here we are using the wait statement with the arrow mode to read the log file. Also, we are looping through the entries inside the log, and anywhere we find failed login, we are going to split that into different words, and after that we are going to pick the last word because we're expecting that the last word will probably be the IP, and this is where we are getting each of the IPs. Also, if this does not work, then this elif statement would proceed. This is the section for reading and analyzing the log, and after that we are generating an alert report, and this is the section that handles that. So here we are saying that if not alert found, we are not finding any alert, you should write to the file that there is no alert detected, then print analysis complete, report saved to the output file. If alert is found, then this is what we are going to be writing to the report. We are going to be getting the IP, and we are going to be adding alert, then the IP, then the number of times, and we are concatenating that with the failed attempt string. Also, if you scroll down, this is the part where we are running the log monitor, and you can see that we are calling the function here, and we are passing security log and alert.txt as our argument, because right from the beginning when we're defining the function, we were using two arguments as well. So we needed to pass the two arguments when we are calling the function. So I can save the code here, then come here and run the code, Python, then log monitoring.py, and we run it. Now you can see analysis complete, report saved to alert.txt. So we can come to alert.txt to see the report, and this is the report. Successful logins 2, unique IPs with failed attempts 2, potential brute force just 1, and this is the IP we saw earlier that has 3 failed attempts. I know this might be complex, but what you just need to do is to look through the code again, understand how it works, then try to write it on your own. That is how you can learn this and be able to write some other amazing security tools on your own in the future. Before we go, I have a challenge question for you, and that is, why should you use the with statements when working with files? I repeat, why should you use the with statement when working with files? That's all for this lesson. If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do that now. Also, do not forget to like, share, and comment. I'll be expecting to get the answers to the challenge questions in the comment section. Thank you so much, and see you in the next lesson.